Hey guys, I'm Victor and welcome to another episode of Soccer Fan Perspective. Today's episode will be focusing on the 2014 MLS Expansion Draft that will take place this Wednesday at 2 p.m. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the process, I'll mention the basics. Since MLS is still expanding the number of teams in the league, they created this process to give the expansion teams, in this case New York City FC and Orlando City, an opportunity to obtain MLS experienced players and make a competitive team from their inaugural season. Now, each MLS club participating in the draft, with the exception of the expansion teams, can protect up to 11 players in their roster. Now, Generation Adidas players and homegrown players are automatically protected and do not count towards the 11. Designated players, on the other hand, are not automatically protected unless they have a no-trade clause, which will then require them to be in the 11. Now, the expansion draft itself consists of 10 rounds, which means that each team will have 10 picks. Now, once a player has been claimed from a team's non-protected roster, the team is able to move one additional player from said roster to their protected roster. Also, once a team has had 2 players claimed from their non-protected roster, they will be removed from the draft and won't be able to lose any more players. Now, that's the basics in a nutshell, but if you want more detailed rules about it, just click on the link that I will leave in the description down below. Now for the fun part, which is guessing who will get picked. Now, like the Super Draft, there are many factors that come into figuring out which player to claim, whether you go for the best player available or the player that best fits your team or system, for starting quality players, or maybe you're just looking to add depth to your roster. And lastly, the player's salary. Now, for the sake of time, I will name the 20 players that I believe will be picked and give my reasons as to why. Now, if you want to see the full list, then just look in the description for the link provided by MLS. For the Chicago Fire, I have Patrick Yanni, basically starter, decent price. For the Colorado Rapids, I have them taking Marvel Wynn because while he is a little bit pricey, he is a solid center back who also is versatile enough to play right back. For the Columbus Crew, I have 2 players, which is Aaron Schoenfeld and Eric Garrick, mainly because they're a bargain. Now, for DC United, I have Jared Jeffrey because the kid still has a lot of potential, at least in my eyes. And at worst case scenario, he's going to be depth and again, bargain pricing. For FC Dallas, I have Stephen Keel because he's a possible starter, at least depth, and again, bargain pricing. Most of these are going to be bargains, so I apologize for the redundancy. For the Houston Dynamo, I have Corey Ash, basically because he's already a starting caliber left back who can also play left wing. For the Los Angeles Galaxy, I have Dan Gargan, who has had a breakout season for the Galaxy this year. So at the worst case scenario, he's going to be depth, but he could push for that starting spot at right back. Then for the New England Revolution, I have 2 players, which is Patrick Mullins, a player who has had an up and down this rookie season, but the kid has a lot of potential, and given in the right environment, he could be a starting caliber player. And then Adrian Soares, who is already a starting caliber center back, who you could just plug in automatically. For the Philadelphia Union, I have Zach McMath, who won at his price salary is a steal, and he's already a starting caliber goalkeeper. And secondly, Danny Cruz, who I'm still a bit iffy with, because given his price, he should be a starter, but he could also be depth. But then again, the price itself would probably shy teams away from him. Now for the Portland Timbers, I have Jorge Villafana, who's had stints with Chivas USA and now with the Portland Timbers. So he's had MLS experience already. He's young, and he's, at worst case scenario, a solid depth player who is at a bargain price. Now for Russell Lake, I have 2 players, which are Sebastian Velasquez, who showed stints of creativity in his stay at Russell Lake, so he could potentially be a starter given the right environment, and he's a bargain. And then I have Chris Wingard, who's a solid starting left back, like Keystone. In Seattle, I have Kenny Cooper, who I'm still uncertain of. I mean, he's a bit pricey, but he's an experienced striker in MLS, and those are hard to come by. For Sporting Kansas City, I have 2 players, which is Suni Saad, who again is depth and at a decently marked price, and Andy Grobam, who's similar to Zach McMath, is a steal for the salary he has at the moment, and he's a solid goalkeeper. For Toronto, I have Dominic Oduro, who, again, as Marvel Wynn and Kenny Cooper, is a bit pricey. for the production he's done so far, but he's a potential game changer, especially with that speed. And lastly, for the Vancouver Whitecaps, I have Sebastian Fernandez, being picked because he's just a quality player at an okay price. Well, that's it for this video. Tell me what you think of my picks, and if there are players that I didn't mention that you think might get picked, please let me know and why. Make sure to give this video a like and to hit that subscribe button, and follow the show on Twitter at SAP Soccer Show to stay updated. So until next time, guys, see you all later.